I think more kings have lost their kingdoms to treacherous behavior and betrayal than they have to enemy action. I think it's the number one threat to any man of genuine competence in the world today. And I will say that weak people will always betray you in the end, even if they don't want to. Because weak people simply do not have the capability to resist for long enough to avoid the betrayal. So when you analyze something like betrayal, you have to understand very well, nearly everyone you protect and provide for has a limit to which they would eventually betray you. It's funny, we just finished talking about women because 99.9% of women will eventually betray you. And I'm not trying to be insulting to women. I'm not trying to be misogynistic. What I'm saying is that women cannot resist like a man can resist. If you put a woman in a room and tell her she does not leave that jail cell until she gives you up, she will give you up faster than your brother would because she can't take the heat. She can't take the pressure. She can't take the stress. She's too weak to take it. It's not bad. I'm not calling her a bad person. I'm not insulting her. This is the bottom line. She's just too weak. So when you look at things like betrayal, you have to analyze who betrayed you out of genuine malice and who betrayed you out of a lack of capability. If I'm holding your hand and I'm on the edge of a cliff and you're holding my hand and you hold as long as you can and your arm gives way and I die, is that betrayal or did you do your best? Letting go of me is betrayal. But it's actually quite interesting when I analyze the times I was betrayed. Could these people have even done any better than they did? Which then makes you analyze the meta point of who's in your life in the first place and how capable are each of these individuals in certain scenarios.
And why did you let them in?
Well, that's right. Planet hero. So then what do you do with all the weak people in your life? Because I do have females in my life and some weak guys, some other people I know. Well, now you have to curate your relationships and your realities with them in a way that makes it very difficult for them to betray. I've had girlfriends for 5 years who don't know my job. They don't know my address. They don't know where my property is located. They don't know anything about me. They don't know anything. You can tie them to a chair and electrocute them all day long. They don't know anything about me that matters. Now, I'm not doing that to be a bad person. I'm doing that to protect them from betraying me. I take responsibility for the times I was betrayed, is what I'm trying to say. I don't blame the people who betrayed me. People can only do what they can do. And unfortunately, a lot of people are pretty shit at most things. A lot of people are very incompetent, extremely incompetent. Yesterday, I beat the fuck out of 60 dudes in a row. People suck. So if I was betrayed by somebody, I don't blame them for the betrayal. I blame myself for putting them in a position where I expected more of them. If I put my knight on a square in the board and he gets trapped and dies, I blame myself. I don't blame the knight. These people couldn't have done any better. I have to be careful what I say because of my current legal predicaments and also certain things I don't want to share with the internet. There's been a whole bunch of times people have done it. But if I actually analyze the scenario in the story, I still have to truly blame myself, even if I wasn't to blame, because I have the most competitive mindset if I blame myself for it, because if everything's my fault, then I have all the control, which means I'm going to alter my actions going forward. If I don't have the control, if I say, oh, this person's a traitor and I did everything perfect. Well, now I'm open to be betrayed again. If I say people can be treasonous in certain scenarios, how do I alter my relationships moving forward? I'm now harder to betray. So I don't really blame these people for doing what they did. But I will say there are certain warning signs that you can see in people that make it very easy to understand if they would betray you or not.
Like what?
If I'm with a guy and he complains he's hungry and there's no food, and I say, well, there's no food yet, we'll eat later. And then he spends the next 3 hours bitching about being hungry, I get a red flag. I'm like, bro, you ate this morning. It's 4 p.m. and all you're talking about is food. I don't like that. That's weakness. That signals to me I don't like it. If I see dudes who are desperate to get laid all the time, desperate for women, that's an even bigger warning sign. Because a starving man will do anything for food. A starving man will do anything if there's a buffet ahead of him. When men are desperate for women or desperate to get laid all the time, that's the guy who tries to talk to your ex. That's the guy who tries to talk to girls. Those guys. I don't like those kind of people. Anyone who's desperate for anything, anyone who shows a lack of emotional regulation, anyone who shows a lack of physical control. I don't like fat people. I'm sorry. I just don't like fat people because they have no self-control. You have no self-control and you have no discipline. That's clear. You have no motivation, no determination. That's clear. You can't stop putting things in your mouth to live longer and be a respected member of society. So I don't like you. If I have to create my reality, I would argue that if I had me and my 6 friends all in perfect physical condition and we had one really fat guy, I would argue the fat guy would break first. I would just argue he has less self-control. Maybe I'm wrong. Of course, exceptions exist. You have to, well, I do. I assume the worst about people until they prove otherwise, right? So if I meet a really obese guy and he proves to me that he's actually a serious soldier, then of course I will take it on board and learn. But my first impression is XYZ. And he's given me that impression by his own decisions. So I would argue like a man who's obese and physically unattractive, if my ex who's a 10 were to come on to him primarily because she wants to upset me, he's more likely to betray me because he doesn't get attention from those kind of women, as opposed to a man who gets attention from those kind of women all the time. He's less likely to damage a friendship for something which is so common because value is derived from scarcity. Of course, these are all just assumptions. But yeah, betrayal is actually pretty easy to spot in advance if you understand the weakness and capability of the people around you. You just have to measure them up and just say, okay, how long would this person go to jail for me? I mean, most people, I'll be honest, I'm in a fortunate situation because yes, I can be betrayed, but also I'm very valuable to the people I know. I'm very valuable. Knowing Andrew Tate on a first name basis and being able to call his phone is an extremely valuable thing. You can make a lot of money, get a lot of status, great things happen. So people don't really want to betray me because they're going to lose a lot. But if you're a normal person, betraying you, they don't even lose anything. If you're a normal guy and your ex comes on to your friend, the reason your friend's going to fuck your ex is because that pussy's worth more than your friendship. Because you don't have anything to offer. You don't give him anything. You don't make any money with the guy. You can't tell him anything. You can't teach him anything. You're a dipshit. He's a dipshit. You sit around talking about football. You're both dipshits. And now some pussies appeared. So guess what? There's someone else who'll talk about football all day long and he can fuck the pussies. That's it. So if you're a normal guy, betraying you is so easy to do because there's very little consequence to it. Betraying me has a consequence at least. So that's a benefit, I guess. It makes the betrayal more consequential for me, but there is a benefit. People are going to sit there and go, do I really want to lose Tate as a friend forever? But if you're the average man, I get this question all the time. I just want to segue. People say to me, my friend slept with my ex. What should I do? And the answer is that you deserved it, because if you're hanging around with those kind of people, you're probably a fucking loser. So you're a loser who probably would have done it to him if you had the chance. Losers flock together. It's just loser life. This loser shit. None of my exes can talk to my friend. Like, you can't. She couldn't. I'd love her to try. It's impossible because I'm not a loser. But losers hang with losers and loser shit happens. So to answer the question, sorry, I've gone on a bit, but to answer the question, the people who've betrayed me, I don't think they did it out of malice. I think that they let go of me as I was hanging off the edge of the cliff simply because their arm wasn't strong enough. And what I did once I hit the ground and bounced up with my masterful Aikido, because I cannot die, is start looking at the size and strength of people's arms for my future friendships. But this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. I know women. Back then, we just broke up and she didn't want to be together anymore. I didn't understand why. Now, me knowing what I know, was she fucking someone else? Probably. Because that's what women do. Like, I know more now. But I wouldn't say that, she broke my heart. I can't accept that framing, because that would mean that she took action to damage me. I can't take that framing. I felt perplexed and confused. But now with experience, my heart can no longer be broken because I can't be confused by anything. I understand the world very well now. So I think every single man who's ever been with any woman ever has had his heart broken at some time. Yes. Does that affect how I view women now? No. What affects how I view women are their own actions. Like, people will say, oh, who hurt you? You see women so bad because someone hurt you. No, I see women the way I see them, which isn't even bad. I see women in a particular light because of how they act, and I see men in a particular light because of how they act. Both sexes. This is not even a gendered argument. But I wouldn't say my heart's been broken any worse than anyone else's. In fact, I would argue that my heart's been broken less than everyone else. I see a whole bunch of men out here who are finding out the kids aren't theirs, or they've been married for 20 years, getting divorced, losing their life's work, or losing the house. That's heartbreak. I ain't lost nothing. My kids are my kids. I ain't lost no money. I've never lost a house. I've never had to ask a judge to get rid of a bitch. Nothing. I'm fine. So I don't think my heart's been broken any worse than anyone else's. I think I'm just hyper realistic about the human nature of things. And I think that I'm very good at not becoming emotionally invested or not becoming obsessed with the idea of or hoping for some kind of fantasy I do not believe exists between humans. Like every single thing between humans is transactional. It always will be. We're in a transaction right now. You're giving me a platform and I'm giving you content, and this is a transaction. And we're friends and it's fine, but it's a transaction. For us to sit here and go, this is not transactional, we're best friends and the transaction has nothing to do with it, would be disingenuous. And it's absolutely the same between a man and a woman. Men or women, they have this illusion or this dream of, do you love me for real? Do you love me for me? That doesn't even mean anything. That's not real. I love you because you're beautiful and you do as I say, and you make me happy sometimes, and you add to my status by being hot, and we have sex, and you rub my back, and that's why I love you. Yeah, but do you love me for me? Well, what are you without those things? Well, you're a blob of goo. The blob of goo. You love me because I'm famous and rich and important and tall and strong and smart and funny and interesting and charismatic. Would you love me if I wasn't those things? Do you love me for me? Well, what is me without all of that? What am I now if I have no charisma, no money, no capability, no intellect? Am I a blob of goo? Like this whole idea of love as a non-transactional thing is so flawed in the first place. So I understand everything is transactional. And there's people who are going to sit there and go, he doesn't have a real woman who really loves him because my wife really loves me. And that poor guy, he doesn't understand real love. All right, bro. Talk to me after the divorce. Or they say, oh, women are just with him for money. My woman's not with me for money. Well, firstly, you have no money. Secondly, I've never seen a woman in